Welcome to Safari, coming to you live from South Africa on these beautiful reserves, and hopefully we're going to see some great things today. Boy, did we get some rain last night. I think you gathered that if you were watching. We had to run for cover several times to all our different shelters, but we ended up in one of the rooms in our control room with a very rushed setup there with a desk and some books and anyway, we had a nice chat, and it was really lovely to talk to you all and share a bit of what goes on behind the scenes from not just Peter and myself, but all about the rest of the team who are a hugely important part of this whole project. So this morning, it's a little bit damp underfoot, but it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We've got still a bit of cloud cover, but it looks like it's burning off at the moment. It's 18 degrees Celsius, about 65 degrees Fahrenheit, and we've just driven in here, and there's lovely mist. There's some really beautiful vision at the moment, which we'll show you as we walk around. Drive around, sorry, walk around. We're going to go down and check out that hippo that we looked at yesterday, and just check to see how he's going and see what else is around. It's a beautiful temperature, particularly for predators, so we'll definitely keep our eyes open for them as always. We got some really lovely questions yesterday as well, so thank you so much for all the support and the wonderful sort of questions that were a little bit about not just the wildlife and the habitats, but about Pete, myself, the rest of the team, some technical questions as well. And as I said last night, we try to get to as many as we possibly can, and I sort of scan through things after the drives, and sort of hopefully we can get to those as well. Yesterday, I'm going to make sure I remember the lady's name because I've got it on my phone here, and she asked a question about termites. And let me just see who it was. From Racer. Racer, if you are watching, Racer, can you please text us, and I'll come back to you about, you asked a question about whether the rain will bring flying termites or is it too early. And I wasn't sure about this particular area. I know that rain does stimulate termites to leave their mount. I wasn't sure about this area, so I did a little bit of research for you last night, and I've got an answer. But I want to make sure you're watching, Racer. So text us, tweet us at hashtag Safari Live, and we'll stop at a termite mound and have a bit of a chat about that. So without further ado, I think we should move on. Pete's definitely out and about, and we'll cross to him just now. We're going to drive out now and have a little bit of a squiz around and see what's going. Remember what I said last night about the rain. There's a fantastic thing that rain does for us, and that is that it obliterates all the old tracks, or all the old spoor. And spoor is that Afrikaans word that I've mentioned many a time. It's a really important word that basically means tracks and signs and signals from animals. So it doesn't have to be just physical footprints. It can be any hair, or it can be loads of different things. It can be marks on a tree. It can be any sort of tracks or signs. So we'll move on. I just got a message now. Pete's coming to join me. So all right, well, let's wait for him here, and we'll just have a bit quick chat. I can hear him. He's on his way. So the jigger is arriving with Pete and Brian. That brings me to a nice little point. VM is on board with me today, as always. My eyes in the sky, and he's a fantastic spotter from that little bit of an elevated position on the vehicle. So yes, the tracks are all obliterated. So everything that we see this morning is going to be after those rains, and those rains stopped at about 8:30 sort of our time here. So we will see some really lovely fresh tracks this morning. I do want to find out what's happened with that hippo and see if we can figure out where he goes during the day. It's a bit of a mystery. If he's not in that pond, we might be able to see his tracks crossing one of the roads in that quadrant. So that's really good. Got some great questions here. I didn't give you much choice there. And Pete has a special guest on board today. Fantastic.
Morning,
hello, buddy.
again.
Morning,
Sorry,
bud.
A few minutes late, we had to tweak one or two things back there from the rain.
No worries.
And yeah, stunning morning. Oh wow.
Absolutely beautiful, mate. Yeah. All this cloud's going to burn off, hey? I think so.
We've got beautiful light coming through there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to burn off and then burn up, kind of thing. I think we get more rain today somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And nice chance to introduce Rafi. He's leaving soon, so Good to see him on the vehicle. He's on camera. My name's Peter Pretorius. This is Aidan Turner, in case that slipped by.
It did slip by, actually. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. So I thought we'd just go off and check out where that hippo is and see if we can figure out where the mystery of where he goes during the day, and see we'll get an update on his health check on him.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, mate?
I was going to just build. We've got a little canopy thing which we'll tell you about later. It's sort of sticks and rope and canopy, so I do want to test it. We got it in last night and we haven't put it up properly, so we might give that a try. Although it is also this first part of the morning, the first, as you well know, as many of you know, the first hour of the drive is the real magic time. So we might actually just do a little bit of driving in this area. We had some fresh leopard tracks on the way in this morning.
Yeah, I saw.
Just on the road. So and that's subsequent to the rain. It's a nice fresh mud, so that's from this morning sometime. So look around for that, and so I'll stick around this area.
All right, mate.
And then
we'll head
from there
down towards the dams and just check out the dams on the way, and then we might cross paths again. But we should get on the road, and we'll see you just now.
Yeah.
Rafi,
cool.
enjoy, buddy.
Have fun. We'll see you back this side in a bit.
Fantastic.
And also, have you welcomed Scott? Sorry, I got you a bit late.
No, I haven't welcomed Scott.
Big welcome to Scott. We'll do a proper where he has to stand here and wave and hello mum and all that kind of thing. But Scott has joined us.
Yeah, and Scott's
he's going to be doing a lot of this as well. So
fantastic guy. So you're going to meet him very, very soon. Let's get on our way.
All right. Enjoy. Have fun.
Okay, mate.
See you in a bit. Cheers.
All right.
Guys, see you now.
Okay, see you now. Yes, absolutely. Scott, I was getting there. Scott is going to be taking over from Pete and I with another fantastic guide that you know well, and Mark Weiner, who is going to be here in the next few weeks. Mark's a sensational guide and incredibly knowledgeable, as is Scott, and really looking forward to doing the handover to those two wonderful guys. Yeah, we met Scott last night. He's just great. He's just fantastic. He's worked in some amazing parts of Africa, and yeah, he'll share those with you, I'm sure. And then we got Mark Weiner, who's a bit of a legend. He's got some great following, and we know everyone loves Mark. And I've never met Mark before, but I've got a friend in common. We've got a mate, Marius Swart, who is a fantastic guide around this area as well. So it's a lovely community. There's some really super people that work in this industry, and you get to make some great friends. It's really wonderful. So you can see how the rain has gone down through this road last night. All these fresh tracks. These are just Impala tracks, but as Pete was saying and I was saying before that, all these tracks are fresh. Whoa. Nearly hit a snail then. So last night we got a question about frogs and toads, and there was definitely a complete cacophony, is a great word I suppose, for all the frogs last night. You can see we're the first vehicle out here today. There's no tyre tracks through here, so all these tracks that we're seeing, I'm going to be driving quite slow this morning, folks, just because I really want to pay attention to this. It's a great privilege to be the first vehicle out on these roads and get a great handle on what's been going down here. We did see fresh leopard tracks this morning as we came in on the other side. Excuse me, we'll try and pick up on where they are. Have a quick drink, excuse me. I think Racer has just given us a tweet. I'm not sure if she's given us a tweet. Just let me check with Control. Control, does that mean Racer's actually watching? She's given us a tweet, or you're just confirming Racer's name? Fantastic, thank you. Racer, fantastic to have you with us aboard again, as it is with everyone. And Racer, thanks so much for confirming that. I just wanted to make sure you were watching, before I did a little bit of research, because what I was excuse me, interested in, I know a bit about termites. I'm not a termite expert, but I know that there's some sort of charted territory when it comes to the philosophies behind why termites swarm. There's a particular sort of trigger, and one of them is rain, and you're very, very true in what you asked last night, whether rain triggers termites to swarm and come out of the nest to potentially go up and set up other colonies. Well, it is true in the Savi Sands area that is one of the triggers. So we could see termites starting to emerge from their mounds, and if we do see that, Racer, I'll definitely stop and have a chat about them. But there's also some other scientists don't really know some of the triggers in some parts of the world, because they will swarm in some desert areas without any rains whatsoever. One of the things I did wanted to discuss with you, which I find really, really interesting, is that in some parts of Africa, termites are a delicacy. Just let me turn this game drive channel down for a second. Termites are a delicacy, and people eat termites and they're a great form of protein. So what they'll do is they'll artificially create that rain situation, and I've seen this happen in Uganda with a community there, and what they will do is perform this little ritual where they will sprinkle water over the termite mound to emulate rain, but they'll also play drums very, very close to the mound to emulate rain hitting the top of the termite mound. And it takes a while. I've seen it done, and it took about an hour to come, which is a pretty long time for people to be playing the drums. But I was standing there going, this isn't going to work, this isn't going to work. And sure enough, the termites started to emerge, and people started to harvest them in these little pipes, and then they take them off and they cook them up and eat them. So it's a really interesting little story, but that humans do fit into the system as well and can benefit from a sustainable source of protein. I just thought I'd share that with you. But Racer, thank you so much for being with us again, and we potentially will see termites emerging, and I promise you we'll stop. Beautiful light, look at this. Absolutely magic. So we've got these gorgeous grey skies at the moment. There's sort of grey blue in the background here. This fresh sort of dew or raindrops and moisture all over the grass and the leaves. It smells fantastic, folks. Absolutely beautiful. There's a really, really fresh smell of the bush, and I always like to share those senses with you. It's not just the sound and the sight that we share. We like to try and tell you about the smells that we encounter as well. Like that last one last night, that really lovely essence of the grass, the African bush grasses, just before the rains. There's this really sweet smell that comes through. Right now, we're going to go down this road and look out for hippopotamus spoor or tracks going across the road, and I'll check out the road going up here as well, Philemon's cut line, and see if we can try and gather some intelligence on what happens to this hippo during the day, because it's a little bit of a mystery to us. He ends up in this pond, this dam in the afternoons, but where he goes during the day. Hippo have got a very, very distinct track. It's a three-toed track, and they're an odd-toed ungulate, what we call an odd-toed ungulate or an odd-toed hoofed animal, and that's sort of where the two of the sort of groups of hoofed animals are broken up into: even-toed ungulates or hoofed animals and odd-toed hoofed animals. But the hippos definitely fall into the odd-toed category, and think I might have a track to show you actually. Let me just have a look on my app here. Just bear with me for a second. You can just bear with me. I'm just trying to get a... No, I haven't got it on that. No, I haven't got it. I haven't got a picture of it at the moment, but I'll get one for you and show you. Beautiful. Let's stop down at this. This is Treehouse Dam, and let's just stop down here and see what we can see. I'll just have a little scan over this area. So our hippopotamus friend has gone again. Very interesting. That's where he was yesterday. Just have a little scan around there and see what you can see. Very odd. I find it interesting that he's so badly injured, but he still has the energy to travel. So that makes me think that the injury is either getting better slowly, as if he's got the energy to move, if he's got the energy to move around to different locations. The interesting thing is that the other water point that's close to here, Twin Dams, he's never in there, and he wouldn't go back to that dam where he had the encounter with that dominant bull. Yes, so we're just going to drive around and have a little bit of a look and see if we can find out where he is. Or this is just a great opportunity for us to see if we can pick up the tracks. We've got a series of roads around this this dam. Question on Twitter from Blue Jay: can I explain hippopods? Pods is a term that has been used to describe hippos. I suppose it's because they're amphibious, and a very amphibious mammal, in the sense of probably the most amphibious, spending the majority of the time in the water, that it's a funny old word with collective noun, funny old thing with collective nouns, that they've used pods with hippos, and I think that's got a lot to do with like whales, mammals that are in the ocean that live in pods, pods of whales or dolphins. It's a term that's used with hippos, I think, because of that aquatic or semi-aquatic nature of the hippo. But I wouldn't. Some people say a herd of hippo. But other people use the word pod, and that's probably, Blue Jay, that's probably the best explanation I can give you. Collective nouns are a really odd thing, and also are used, but with, in the same family of antelope, well, same group of ungulates, antelopes, you've got kudu, cows and bulls. So whenever there's probably method to the madness there, but the best answer I can give you is that pods are a term that is used for hippos, but probably because they're so amphibious, or they're so aquatic, and that's probably where it's come from, I'd say. So hopefully that answers your question. Excuse me 1 second, folks. I'm just trying to check out my mapping at the moment. This is this Impala ram here with this one horn. He's in pretty good condition. He's probably broken that horn off. Yeah, the guys in the control room are saying it's a unicorn. He'll probably do okay with that. He's not going to probably fight for dominancy with great success, but he'll probably survive. He looks like he's in reasonable condition, but he's probably broken that off. He might be a ram past his prime, but he'll survive. He might not do a lot of breeding, but he'll definitely be okay. So we're looking for this even toed. Sorry, not sure. Did I say odd toed before? I meant even toed. Did I say odd toed? I meant even toed spore or track. Sorry, folks. I think I did say odd toed in this morning earlier. Even toed, so it's going to have two little, it's like a web shape. It's quite an unusual track. If I can find one for you, I'd really like to show you that even sort of that track of the hippopotamus. I'm just looking on the road here, see where he came out. Now, the only option we've got there is if he is in this vegetation for some reason, but I find that really strange, particularly because he's so ill. Sorry, I think I confused you this morning there, folks. I said odd-toed, but I meant to say that there's two groups, odd-toed and even-toed ungulates or hoofed animals. And we're looking for a hippo track, which is actually a really distinct track with 4 toes. It looks a little bit like a web, and I am still at a loss to see where he comes out. Beautiful time for tracking. We're all hoping that he recovers. I'm sorry I'm not looking at camera so much. I'm trying to keep my eyes on the road here to see if there's any tracks coming out. But we all hope he makes it, but at the same time, as we've talked about before, they were very serious injuries. But you know what? There's always exceptions to that. Animals bounce back, they're incredibly resilient, they've got an amazing ability to get through these really tough times of injuries. We just got an interesting question from Jen on Twitter, and Jen's asking if the hooves of impalas, wildebeest, kudu, etc. are the same as or similar to zebra or that of a horse. Well, Jen, actually they're completely different, really different. The kudu and the impala and all the antelope have a split hoof, or a two-toed hoof, a split down, much like well, not a cow, but much like a deer or something like that. And it's an even-toed ungulate, so it's a split in their hoof. Whereas a zebra is exactly like a horse. It's in the same family as horse, in the equine family, and it's a single hoof with that same sort of little frog in the hoof, that shape there. And if we see one, we might do a little bit of that this morning. We might try and find some hooves. They're a little tricky to see for VM on camera there, because if they are right next to the vehicle, you can't shoot it. But if there's some on the road ahead and they're quite fresh, I'll try and give you a look. The other thing I could do is come down really close to the print and take a photograph with my phone, and then bring it up to camera. Okay, so we'll make a plan there. Just going to head around here and try and narrow this down and see if we can find our hippo friend's tracks, but I have not seen any spoor coming out of here from hippo, and they're so distinct. They're unmistakable hippo tracks. We're going to have some fun on these roads, folks, in the near coming weeks with this rain. Beautiful fresh road here, no blemish from car tire tracks or anything. Now obviously if the hippo is walking across very hard ground, the track won't be as visible, but most of the ground in front of us here is very soft. At the same time, I think VM's looking in here to see if he's in there somewhere, resting up. So he does have to be in that area. One of the things I also want to explain, folks, is that with this rain that's just hit, we have a tendency not to drive off-road as much, because the tyre tracks and we on the off the road become quite visible. When the ground is hard and sandy, the ground recovers very quickly here. There's certain areas that you would be very careful in, and not to drive in parts of the habitat. But what we do here in Sabi Sands is we're very respectful. It might look like we're crashing over vegetation, but a lot of vegetation goes under the vehicle and comes back up, and we are very respectful of that. We brush past a lot of things. When we're driving, it sounds a lot worse than it actually is. I assure you, the brush going past the vehicle and underneath the vehicle sounds quite destructive, but I assure you things bounce back, and we are very respectful of that. Well, we're getting up to the end of our road here, and I have not seen hippo spoor come out, so I won't say anything until we're at the end. It's I wouldn't call it tedious process. I'd call it a very it takes a lot of care and time to do tracking. And you know, if you're a simple tracker, like most of us can sort of see tracks and and sort of understand what happened, you do need to pay a very, very close attention. When you're a professional tracker, like most of the Shangaan people that work around Sabi Sands, it's just second nature to you. They're just fantastic. They're fabulous trackers. It's an art form, and it's an absolute art form. And I think I talked about it a little bit last night. Their intuition is the part that you cannot really learn. It's just part of your upbringing, and you try the best you can. And Shangaan really make you in awe of them. Most incredible trackers. I've worked with some amazing trackers in Namibia as well. Some of the San Bushmen there, again like the Shangaan, extraordinary trackers, and have this incredible sixth sense about what happened to the animal, or what it did, or where it was going, and they unlock the scene like crime scene investigators, and it's just brilliant to listen to, and very, very an enviable skill. A bit of an elephant had a bit of a snack here. Push this down. Now, as I said, we don't drive off the road. Well, I do have to get around that. So just like that, that sounds incredibly damaging, but it was just the old the sticks of that tree underneath there. Right, we're going to have to go around this baby as well. We've got a nice little herd of buffalo up here, which we might just have a quick look at. You know what I'm like with buffalo. A little bit obsessed with buffalo. I do love them. It's a nice mix. There's actually quite a vast herd throughout here. Lots of cows and calves and young bulls. They're moving through here. They're moving through here and grazing this beautiful moist grass, this new flush of grass, and we're going to see a really rapid growth in this area over the next few days, because it was an amazing soaking last night. I'll ask Control just if they could probably get a little bit of a update. We don't have to get it straight away. Control, would you be able to just check out how many mils we got last night rain in this area, please? Mike might be a great person to ask that. Doesn't have to be immediate, but just if you could get back to me sometime in the drive, that would be great. So this grazing through here. I mean, they're on the tender young flush of grass at the moment, but the great thing about buffalo is that they're just such adaptable grazers. They can make short work out of long grass. They're very efficient feeders. They've got these really wide cheek teeth and massive cheek teeth and a wide row of incisors that and that prehensile tongue comes out and wraps around the very, very long bunches of grass and pulls it back into the mouth. They're great super grazers, but boy, are they going for it this morning here. It's like a team of lawnmowers moving towards me here. Oh, they're really enjoying this. Okay, we might just move on and let these guys pass. They're all around us at the moment. It's a big herd actually, folks, I have to say. It's a big herd. I can see right through the trees over here. There's more of them coming through. something quite special when you get surrounded by animals. I had an encounter on a reserve not far from here with a friend of mine, Marius, years ago, where we were walking, and I think I've mentioned this story before, but it's a nice one right at this point. We were walking and we walked onto a herd of buffalo, and the wind was in our favour, and we set ourselves up on a termite mound, and we just sat there, and we squatted, so we didn't have that human shape, and they didn't recognise what we were for quite a considerable amount of time. And it was about 300 or 400 buffalo, and they ended up laying down and ruminating and sitting there for the next hour, so we couldn't really move, and we just sat with them, amongst them, and a couple of the young bulls had come up to us and come up close to the termite mound. Couldn't quite figure out what we were, but do a little bit of a display and a bit of a snort and walk off. But it was quite an extraordinary experience. And then we had to get up at one point, so we sort of slipped behind the termite mound and took off, but they didn't really know we were there. But it was an amazing thing to be surrounded on foot by, as it is right now. Really nice. Okay, we're going to let these guys pass because I'm sort of sitting in their pathway at the moment. There's loads of them. Absolutely loads of them. Beautiful. It goes on and on and on, right back up there, folks, and down here some old males, such social creatures. Well, the mystery remains, folks. No hippopotamus spoor. Some nice zebra here. We've got a fair few foals being born at the moment. See if I can, just looking at these tracks, folks, so bear with me. Let me just take a photograph of this zebra spoor for you. So that is a zebra track, and just to show that person, I'm so sorry, I've forgotten the name, I do apologise, but it's a bit hard to see there. There's the tyre track just there on the edge. Sorry VM, I'll just hold that nice and still for you. There's the zebra track, and it does resemble, that's it just there, okay, and it does resemble a horse's track, okay, that's a youngster, but it's just to give you a little indicator that it's the same shape. Jen on Twitter, that's right, Jen on Twitter, thank you Control, Jen on Twitter, just to show you that. And then if I get down a little bit further, I will show you, Jen, a shot of an impala, which is a very, very different track altogether. And this, Jen, and everyone else for that matter, I'll just take a picture of this impala for you. that's an impala track, okay? Sorry. So that's an impala track with the two very distinct two toes there. You can see the size of the tire track, so it's only a youngster, but that's an impala track. I'll try and get some better ones for you. These are in soft sand. It's nice when they're in mud, but I'll try and get a few more for you. It's really lovely to look at tracking because it's like it opens up another world for you. Now I'm a simple tracker, you know. I've worked with some good trackers and you're constantly learning, but you can just see distinct tracks that you recognize very easily, and it's great to look at a waterhole. That's one of the most amazing things you can do if you're with a professional guide that's got their trails license, or you're on a property that walking which has to be done with someone that knows what they're doing. You don't just go off walking in the African bush yourself, ever. As long as you're with people that know what they're doing, or people have told you that things are okay, then you can go and investigate a waterhole. If you go and investigate around a waterhole, it's like the bush newspaper basically. It tells you what happened last night, what's happened around the waterhole, who came to visit, if there were any encounters, and you can see the difference between a hoof mark that's in the mud that is at leisure, what I like to call at leisure, so an animal just coming down to drink, versus an animal that maybe had to run or flee from an approaching predator or from a fright or a scare. So that will be a very, very different looking track, and it'll have a lot more sort of signs to it. It'll be a lot more distinct in its movement, and it might have a drag mark or something on that like it. But it's a very complex, very, very complex art form, never to be taken lightly, and when you're with a good tracker, boy, they can open up your world. There's a wonderful book called The Art of Tracking, and if you ever get a chance to get your hands on it, it's widely available, but it's called The Art of Tracking, and it's an intense read, but it does give you a really great understanding of tracking. And that the author actually sort of says in the opening chapters that a lot of people believe it's the first science. It was the first science of that humans ever started to develop, because it was the art of, there was an aim or a hypothesis, and then there was a method, and then there was a conclusion. And when you're out with fantastic trackers, or particularly indigenous communities that still maybe utilize their resources in any way, shape or form, they will be able to use tracking as a skill or as a science to acquire what they need. Okay, we're just going to head down Treehouse Dam now. I'm sorry, down to Twin Dams, I do apologise. Down to the Twin Dams. And we're going to check out what Pete's up to in a second. There's a little dwarf mongoose. We can't drive past you. But firstly, I've spotted something else which is as beautiful but just a bit bigger. Let's just have a look at this magnificent creature lying down, ruminating just there. Wow, one of my favourites. A kudu bull. Really beautiful. He's ruminating. Oh goodness, there's 4 of them I've just spotted to the right. If we pan across via just gently, there's a younger bull just coming into shot now. And then to his right, another one with a very wide splay of horns there, just in the background. And then to the right again, another shaped, very, very tight splay. So all All kudu have different sort of splays on their horns and different twists, amount of twists. I think the record length, if I can remember rightly, is around 180 centimeters, which, what is that? About 6 foot, goodness. I think. I have to stand corrected on that. I could stand corrected on that, but I just can remember reading that somewhere. Beautiful antelope. All very, very relaxed and chilled there. All ruminating. They've brought up some rumen from their several chambered stomach, and they're chewing it over again. Like we know with most of all the ruminants, it's such an efficient are we standing up now, this boy? You can get a really nice look at that. Beautiful, beautiful antelope. Incredibly powerful, fantastic jumpers as well. They can get over and get around some pretty extreme obstacles. Predominantly a browser. So when we refer to a browser, that means that it's an animal that feeds off the vegetation, mostly off the ground. Sometimes they will, if they're really pushed to, they'll graze if there's a drought situation or there's a very, very low food availability. But predominantly a browser. Sometimes you'll see them with their head down, but they're more than likely feeding from small shrubs that are growing, and the tender young shoots that are growing from new shrubs. But they're a beautiful antelope, and not to forget this majestic creature right in front of me here. Hello, my friend. How are you? Everyone's out this morning. Have a beautiful breakfast. Wow, thank you, Control. We have Alex directing this morning, and I just want to say hi to the team. If Pete probably has as well. Alex and Alex as well. 2 Alexes and Pete in Control, doing an absolutely enormous job as they always do for us. But Alex has just confirmed it was 188 centimeters, which is well over 6 foot. My goodness me. Horns out of the top of an antelope, 6 foot, the same height as me. Goodness. Aren't you a beautiful creature? And so relaxed. There's zebra in front. You can probably see there those hooves that we were talking about. Really nice. So these guys are in the odd-toed family. And if you look up those stripes, he's a youngster. He's still got that little bit of. He's probably about, let's say, 1.5 years old, probably. Maybe a year, just over a year. Maybe a year-ish. But he's still got that lovely little brown. If you just go look down towards his hindquarters there, they're born with this beautiful light brown, fluffy sort of fur over their stripe pattern. He is so chilled. He's just beautiful. I'm going to have to take a photograph of you, my friend. I've got millions of zebra photographs, but sometimes you've just got to take one more. And he's just walking up to us, which is quite beautiful. Hello, buddy. Thank you, my friend. Beautiful. Stunning creature. Now, if it's all right, my friend, we need to pass. He's completely relaxed with us. Another great little reaffirming sort of encounter here, that these animals on the Sabi Sands and particularly on where we are on Juma and Arethusa game reserves are so relaxed and so habituated to the vehicles. He's very inquisitive. I might just sit here with him for a little bit longer. He's lovely, isn't he? Very interested in us. What a stunning creature. They're such social animals too. They communicate through so many different facial behaviours and ears and mouth gestures and body postures. They're very, very visual communicators, zebra. I can't believe how close he is. He's literally only about less than 2 meters from the vehicle, folks, and he's moving closer, so we might just oh, he's backing off now. You think that's enough, he says. He's lovely. There's an interesting thing with this particular zebra that we do have here. The zebras, the common or plain zebra that we have here, we've got a little shadow stripe on these zebras, and it's a bit tricky to see on him, but in between those stripes there's like a little off sort of shadow stripe, and I'm sure everyone knows this anyway, but just to sort of throw it in there, that these are like fingerprints. I'm sure everyone knows that, but the zebra's pattern like a fingerprint, and that mother will imprint that her coat pattern on that youngster over the first sort of 48 to 72 hours to make sure he or she can recognize them in a large herd, and that imprinting time is really important. But they're extraordinary. I've seen, I think I mentioned it the other day as well, I've seen a complete genetic throwback when it comes to, or a sort of, the genetics of this particular animal that I saw in Namibia was they'd been thrown into a washing machine, because it had a completely black back, all the stripes were wonky, and it had spots all over its neck, and it was a really unusual animal. I took a photograph of it, but and I've got it documented, but very unusual to see this genetic sort of mishmash that occurred on this particular individual. Okay, well we might move on if our friend will allow us. I know there's a cheesy joke there, everyone, about zebra crossing and everything, but I'm not going to do it. May we pass, please, my friends? His mum is just here. Have a look at how heavily in foal she is. So she's going to drop a beautiful foal very, very soon. Wow, what a lovely morning. Everyone's really, all the animals are really chilled this morning. Very relaxed. Now that's a beautiful call, that bird, everyone. And I really want to show you one. See if you can hear. That one, that wasn't a very good a very good representation of it. It is one of these. And I will find you one, but it's one of these, and it's a beautiful little bird. It's a woodland kingfisher, absolutely superb bird, blue head with this really distinct black and red bill. That's what they look like when they're flying. Woodland kingfisher, and I'm just going to play you the. There you go. There's so many bird song this morning. Let me just play you the call. Beautiful bird, absolutely superb, and we hear them at all different times of the day. We were up at about 4 o'clock this morning and the sun wasn't even up and these woodland kingfishers were vocalising. They seem to just go around the clock, but it's a beautiful quintessential African bird call. I just saw one of the other guides down this way, so we might go this way. Not for any reason other than I'm looking at trying to find those hippo tracks or those distinct tracks in the road, and there was nothing up there. So my thoughts are he's in that vegetation somewhere for some reason. Don't know whether he rests up there in the cool of the day or what it is, but just checking something, folks. Cloud is breaking up. So many kudu bulls around this morning, and here's a great track, folks. This is a lovely one. Let me take a photograph of this one for you. This is a lovely track to see, and I'm pretty sure most people will know what it is. I'll get a little bit of the tyre track in as well. So there's the tyre track. You can see the size of this. It's the size of my hand, at least. I'll just go in a little bit closer. Any ideas? Yeah, you're right. It's giraffe. And that's one of the most distinct, that's the biggest sort of split hoof or cloven hoof track that we'll see. That's a giraffe track, and you'll see just the size of the tyres there. Such a big track. It's not a huge individual, but at the same time it's a beautiful track to see. And the other way that you can know that it's giraffe tracks is because the next track, well, the next two tracks are actually, there's two tracks there, and then there's another two tracks about 1.5 meters away. So there's only one animal that has a stride like that, and that is our beautiful giraffe. Really quite enjoyable, folks, to be doing this. It's something a little bit different for us, you know, and I'm only sharing with you the amount of knowledge that I have about tracking, and it's such a complex so there's giraffes that have gone along here. Now here's a little indicator, just to give you a little bit of background on how we can decipher what's happened here. So I'll just move my head out of the way, and if VM just zooms in on that area there, okay, we can see there's been some disturbance there, where there's that woodland kingfisher. How beautiful. Let's try and spot him in a second. But just back to this quickly, there's been just some disturbance there. Now we know that that's elephant just because of the sort of amount of movement that it is, and I can see a couple of old elephant tracks there. But the reason we know that it's not current is because of all the raindrops and all the little pitter-patter of rain remnant there. So we know that that hasn't been done last night. And if you, sorry, I'll move back a bit, it's a little bit hard to see, but all those little raindrops there give us the indication that it is old activity. So if you see that on a track, you'll know that that track is old, or you know, you put your powers of deduction together, and you know that that activity had to be before the rains yesterday. So same with the tracks. If you see the track that's got the raindrops in it, it's old, it's not fresh this morning. Some more beautiful zebra up here. Sorry folks, when I do this, it's just because I think I've seen a track that I want to show you. No, I thought that was hippo. No. And you can really get into it, folks. I mean, you can do it in your own home, wherever you live. If you get out into a wild area, you can start to have a play with it. It's a great thing to do with your kids. It's a great little crime scene investigation sort of work that you can do. I'm sure you can get technology in wherever you live, whatever country you're in, to get little tracking books or a little app or something you can put on a smartphone or a tablet, and have a little bit of a look around, and to start to use their powers of deduction as well. And they get quite into it. There's a beautiful, beautiful impala track that I need to show you. This is much more distinct. Much more distinct. Very delicate. And again, I'll just put my tyre track next to it to give you a little indicator of how big it is. Can't even see my tyre track. Can't really see the tyre track, but anyway. Here's that beautiful impala footprint. Look at that. See just there? So the two toes, oh sorry, it's walking that direction. Sorry, I'll go back that way. It's walking that direction, the two toes at the front and those larger areas at the back. And it is literally only about that round, folks. So about that round, the particular track. I'd probably say about the size of a well, I was going to compare it to a coin, but we're all in different countries, aren't we? So it's literally only about that round. Beautiful, delicate little track, and you know, we know a common resident, but it's really important to try and learn as many as you can. And excuse me, impala are a fantastic one to start with. when we get up to the predators, hyena and wild dog, it's a little bit, or not a little bit different, very, very different. Just let me have a little check to see what we can do here. Okay, we'll carry on down Twin Dams. Let's have a little look around there. What a beautiful morning, folks. Absolutely fantastic. There's a few corrugations on this road, so I'm sorry about the camera. I'll take it quite slow. But what a beautiful day. The temperature's fantastic. And a lovely little sort of way to start the day. A little bit different. Just to learn a little bit about the track. And I'm sorry if I go on about it. I find it fascinating that you just look what's in front of you as opposed to what's in the that's above. Percent of the picture about the ground, and you start to get to know behavior and get up to really a little scenario that's happened the night before.
And I'm quite glad you could join us for this. We've done the basic construction on this, so once this is all done and dusted, it will actually be very similar to some of the old frontier wagons, the ones that my forefathers used to cross into Africa or deeper into South Africa, the voortrekkers, and in America, the guys that explored the West, the wagons that took the whole movement west. Very similar idea. We've got a basic structure that is then held together by tension from this canvas. So we are still building it. Once we rehearse with this will actually go quite quickly. But for now, since we do have quite serious weather around, we thought we'll get it up and see what it looks like. So you're going to have to join us a little bit just to see what it looks like in here. HT is getting out of signal range a little bit. He'll be moving back in, I'm sure. And yeah, once we got it up to a point where it's working, the fine tweaks I'll do later on today. But once it's up and working, we can go for a test drive. So let me just join you there. Second, basically the key element here is that we want to design this in a way that you could break it all down. One of the great advantages of these fantastic vehicles we've got is that they are highly maneuverable, highly capable, not only in terms of 4x4, but also in the sense of being able to really get into almost anywhere. And a large part of that, as you've seen, because we've got so much bush around, is the fact that we've got virtually no roofline. So our limit to what we can go underneath, apart from up and around, is basically the height of the camera and the mast at the back. And even the mast is designed to flop down, so the mast can go even lower than the camera. So our limitation on height, if it really gets to the crunch, is the top of the camera, the top of the cameraman's head, which they can duck down, and the space of the car. So this will work for rain, but when it's not raining, when it's the good weather, then we want to know that we can what is this one? We want to know that we can break this down, and that's part of this design. So it's not designed for structural strength, well, not massive strength. In other words, it's not a roll cage of pipes. It's designed for being lightweight and for being able to be 100% collapsible and you know, being able to pack it away. So let me just hook that up again, and then we're going to get some fresh air for you, Rafi, and then see if this thing hopefully fits. The big thing about this is that it will enable you and us to stay out in, I would go as far as saying 95% of rain conditions. We will be waterproof to the point where the camera, the electric gear and everything else is relatively fine. even in a big massive storm, we would be able to turn our backsides to the wind and just sit and wait it out while still having a view. So that is that's the core idea of this. All right, we must still make quite a few adjustments on the car. We must still add some Velcro onto the sides of the vehicle, all things that will play a role in the structural concept of it. Rafi, I think we're almost there. Just a bit further back. This will actually fold in once we've got it going. So this, for instance, we're not going to do this now, although we should actually, just for the getting everything tight. This will have to be about there. The other tricky thing with this was we had to design it. VM was giving me a hand. We had to design it away from where we made it, so we had to measure it up as best as we could, and then take it to town and have them stitch it up like plan. So there will still be some tweaking to do, but part of the design is in such a way that there is space to tweak. Do that for now. This one we're going to roll up, I think. Guys, if you have any questions, so I'm not sure how far H is in terms of signal. I'm sure he's trying to get back into range again, or into a better area. But if you have any questions regarding what we're doing out here, this is in case you've maybe just joined us a live safari. And we are looking for wildlife, but we're also testing some gear, and since the rain was imminent, we thought we'll pop this on now. We only received it last night. If you have any questions about the drives, about anything general, about what we're doing here, feel free to send them in. It's #SafariLive if you want to tweet, or questions@wildearth.tv. I don't mind talking about other things while I'm doing this. Okay. Very rough, but it should get us in that direction. Yes, that's a nice hat, Rafi.
Thank you.
Did you get this in back in America?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we've been playing with accents a bit. Rafi is from Atlanta, from the sort of south there, which I've got a bit of a soft spot for. I lived in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, for about 3.5 months. So I love that. It's a little bit like the south today, the weather actually. It's not super hot, but it's clammy. It's the kind of thing that if I was to do a couple of sprints now, I'd be drenched. Which was what I did a lot of in Hilton Head Island. This is some years ago, but playing sort of fairly serious tennis in a very humid, very hot environment for 6-8 hours a day, you do get hot. Although we never wore hats like this on the court. Right now,
we're down in an area that we see a fair bit of leopard activity around here, keeping our eyes peeled as well on the roads, and we're just making our way down to Voyatella Dam. I lost you back there, unfortunately. We were just sort of still talking about tracking a little bit, and I suppose the point I was making was that tracking opens up your whole world when it comes to viewing wildlife. You can look at so much more and understand so much more when you know a little bit about tracking, and sort of think that you can build a scenario or a little bit of a scene in your head about what happened last night. Just going to quickly have a look at this spot just here. It's one of my favourite little leopard spots, but I can probably see from here. VM, can you see into that spot there? I don't really want to drive off the road because I don't want to leave tyre marks on the ground. Yeah, there's nothing in there. It's a lovely little spot in there that leopard like to use, particularly quarantine, when there's water in this water point. It's been very, very dry over there the last few days, but here's another example of how much this was dry yesterday, and now this is all full of water, and this is all drained down from here into this lovely little pool here. Sun's starting to come through now, folks, and it's starting to warm up. It's going to be a steamy one today. Beautiful morning. There's something really special about coming out after a rain. Everything's fresh and alive and glistening in the sunshine. It's beautiful. There wasn't anything at Twin Dams. It was very quiet there. Really interesting night last night, everyone. We'd never sort of had that scenario before. We had to go undercover in such a rush, and then when it did come down, it was really comical in parts when we, I sort of talked to camera and said anything could happen here now, folks. The power could cut out, and it cut out. And then Pete was trying to speak as loud as he possibly could under that tin roof, which was fantastic as well. And we had a really good time, and hopefully you enjoyed it. It was a really nice thing just to talk about the team a little bit and all the wonderful people that work on Safari Live. Not just on in the field here with us at Djuma and Arathusa, but back in Johannesburg and in London and in the United States, and everyone that's on board for this this wonderful project. So it was a great time for us. It felt kind of relaxing for us to talk about things as well, and it's great. Excuse me, folks, just for a second. Okay, mate, just stand by for me for a second. I'll just confirm it is on Safari Drive, did you say? So much. Just stand by for me, folks. Just got a little heads up on a sighting, and I just need to know where it is. Please bear with me, because it's totally learning these new roads, particularly over on Arethusa. Control, do you copy? Mate, just had a heads up from some guides on Arethusa. There's a sighting of Ngala over there, so I might head over that direction if Pete's going to have a look at other things here. We'll just carry on here, and then let me know what Pete's up to, and see if we can do a cross. Okay, so should we go and check out that thing quick? I am just going up to where Teller Dam. I could go around back of Teller Dam and be on location there probably about 15 minutes. A line sighting over there, so we'll try and make our way there. But we've also got a little bit of a mention of an unusual sighting up here, which I'm not going to tell you about. I'm going to keep you in suspense. We're just going to go and see if we can find it first. It's very, very close to our research camp. So when I stop like that and I'm talking on the radio, I'll be talking to either our control room or to another guide on another part of the reserve that are really helpful. The guides here are just astounding. They're such great guys. They're so welcoming. They share so much with us, and we wouldn't be doing anywhere near as well as we are without them. They're just brilliant guys, and they help us immensely. I have to say, when we first thought of all the guides here on Arethusa and Juma, such knowledgeable fellas. They've got incredible they just got such sort of ears on the ground. They know so much about the area, and they eat, drink, breathe, sleep these reserves, so they are really the specialists in these areas. Just have a quick look at our hippo friends here. We've got a bull on the right and a cow, and two cows actually, and there's a calf just coming up to the right. Oh, there's actually more. There's 1, 2, 3 cows probably, or that might be a young bull as well. But there's a little guy that's going to come up. Oh, we love that sound, don't we? It should be a little calf coming up somewhere close to the animal. There you go. Look at him. Off he goes. Not that confident yet. Okay, we're going to just move on and try and find this sighting. Keeping you in suspense. It's kind of fun doing that actually, isn't it? Hey guys, how are you? Good. Some other people on safari there. Wonderful guides with a group of guests on board, just like we have with you. Just going to do a bit of a detour. I've got to go around a certain way to get to here. It feels lovely this morning. I keep saying, folks, but it's to tell you that there's a really freshness, there's a great freshness to the bush this morning from that rain. Just hold on here, there's a few bumps, sorry. Everything feels really alive this morning. I just want to go around and come back onto quarantine the area where we sort of are, for the simple reason that this area that I go through, we've seen some great activity up there over the past weeks, and I haven't been up there. I didn't go up there yesterday because we were sort of focused on the other side, and then the rain was coming. I didn't want to stray too far from our control center. So it was important that we stay close. So good to have you on board as well, folks. Always, I just keep saying it again, it's the best feeling for us. It's just such a great feeling to know that we've got all of you wonderful people watching and sharing these experiences with us. Everything from one of my highlights the other day, those two little wildebeest being born in front of our very eyes. Such a spectacular encounter. I've just got a little stick stuck there. If you hear that little squeak in my wheel, I think I've either got a rock in between my disc and or a stick that's just scraping somewhere. I'll stop and have a look at it once we go to Pete. It's just making a little bit of a noise, but just hold on, William, while I just put the brakes on, mate. So try and get that off. It's a little annoying, but I'll get rid of that. got a message from an email from Madinga. Hi there, how are you? Thank you very much for joining us, Madinga. And the question Madinga is asking is why is a leopard called the quarantine male? It is a bit of a strange name, I have to admit, and the name was given to him because the area that Pete is actually probably on right now, I think, setting up his one of the canvases to show you that he's fantastically designed for us to be able to shoot in the rain, because as we know, the rains are coming. That animal is, that area is called quarantine. Now, what it used to be was an area where, when animals were being restocked into the Savi Sands, or into particularly the Juma, or being taken off and translocated to another area if there was a surplus, they had to be put through quarantine. But particularly buffalo. Buffalo can carry TB, tuberculosis, bovine tuberculosis, and it's really important that any animals that come onto these protected reserves in Africa are bovine TB free. So they will have to go into a quarantine sort of area to have that quarantine period, so they can analyse whether any of the individuals do have bovine TB, and if so, either remove them or treat them. So ultimately, there'll be what's called a BOMA, which is a BOMA, and it will be a facility, like a holding facility, where you will put some animals to quarantine them, so you're protecting the other stocks you have on your reserve. Now, that area was called quarantine. It's not used for that anymore. It's just a very, very big, flat, open area. All the fences have been taken down. But it is still referred to as quarantine, and that male leopard was found in that area quite frequently. So, as I don't know who names it, but it's normally the landowners that name the animals, and used to just call him the quarantine male. He is the son of Karula, the queen of Juma, that beautiful leopard, so famous for all her wonderful attributes, and Karula meaning peaceful. She is so relaxed with the vehicles, and that is a mother of the quarantine male. So we refer to him sometimes quarantine. It's a little bit odd, but and he's a beautiful cat. Control, you mate, can you just give me a bit more of a brief on that sighting? Okay, copy that, mate. And do you know if there's any other vehicles on lock? Just checking a few things with our control room, folks, because I want to get a little more of information about what I'm trying to take you to see. So, through here. Thanks, mate. Copy that. Later on, when we drive, folks, I'll bring another gadget. I love my gadgets. I love my technology. I love combining it with the natural world as well, which I think is really important that we that. So many options to utilize technology in a positive way and improve our knowledge about the natural world. And I love that little thing, that little app on my phone that I can show you or present you the bird sound as well, the call, which is just beautiful. And it's probably a good thing, because my impressions of bird calls aren't one of my finest gifts. So it's a great thing to have. So I'll bring another gadget later on, which we can just touch back on a little tracking talk this morning, and show you some of the footprints, some of the tracks in really great wet, which I've got on another device. It's a bit bigger as well, so you'll be able to see it more easily. And we'll be able to have a little talk about that again, and try and carry that as a thread through our journey over the next couple of months. And I know Scott is really into it, and he's great. And Mark, of course, as you know, is a fantastic, hugely knowledgeable guide, which will be able to elaborate on that. We'll keep that thread going through for you about tracks, and just touch on it, just like we touch on birds, because sometimes we drive along and we don't see anything. How are you guys? Good, good. How's your morning been? Yeah? Fantastic. Where were you in Gala? Okay. Yeah, far. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy it. Okay, thank you, sir. So confirm I will head down our normal access road to research, yeah? Just talk. Yeah, copy. Okay, mate, we'll get as close as we can to that. Okay, copy, mate. Right, folks, there's a little surprise here for us, and you never ever... Yeah, got it. Amazing. I'm just going to stop here and... Yeah, got it. Have a look up in that... Have a look in that marula there. We've got a leopard here somewhere, and the leopard's taken a young impala, and this is right next to our research camp and our control room. You can hear our generator in the background kicking along, because we've got no power here at the moment. We're running on generator to bring you these images live from South Africa, and it's so there's a little bit of background noise, folks, but it just goes to show you how close we are living with wildlife. So there's a leopard in our midst, just somewhere here, and I'm not sure where. Our job, you and me and VM, our job is to find this beautiful creature, and let's just see if we can see him or her. I'm just going to put it into low range, folks. Just putting it into a low range gear here because I'm driving into a little area that's a bit soft and I don't want us to get stuck. But we need to try and find this leopard. Now I can't see anything from where I'm sitting, but let's just stop and have a little look. Let's have a look through the binoculars over here. We have a leopard in our midst somewhere here, folks. This is extraordinary. This is like right amongst our research center. I'm just going to drive down this road and just do a little loop around here and see if we can see. VM's got his eyes in the sky for me as well. Now this area is very, very familiar to Karula. There's loads and loads of stories about where she used to operate, and it was all around here. So we could be looking for her. Going to reverse back up, folks. We're going to scan this area. It's only a very small area. She should be still around, or he or she. We think it could be Karula around this area. Keeping our eyes out. Copied that, Scott. Thanks, mate. Just still having a scan. She doesn't seem to be there, but I'm going to go back in and have another look. So the guys are just telling me that they saw her in here when they walked past. 5 or 6 meters in. Yeah, under that. Yeah, copied that, mate. She's just moved somewhere, so we're just going to have a little nosy around. So the guys in Scott's just telling me, which is fantastic to have Scott. Like, this is the first day and Scott's already talking me into a sighting. It's brilliant. Thanks, mate. And thanks everyone in control. Really incredible to be so close to where we are. Just going to poke my nose down in here. This is a footpath in front of us, folks, that we use to get we use this road, this track here, to get from our research camp to our control center. and we do have some encounters here with lots of different creatures, snakes, elephants, you name it. But we're here to tell the tale. But I want to see this leopard. Where's she gone? Yeah, copy, mate. Very interesting. So all this area in front of us is where we hang out during the day, and our workshops and everything. Okay, oh, right behind there, mate. Yeah. Where could she be? Watch your head, mate. Folks, we just, I hope it's okay with you. I just want to just carry on having a little bit of a look around just under these trees just here. She is here. She's got to kill up that tree. And I find it just fascinating that they're this habituated, this quiet and relaxed, and will hunt and put their kill up a tree right in human activity here. There's a couple of impala there, and I think that was potentially animals looking for their offspring. But the more important thing for us to know, if we hear them vocalize and give an alert call, we'll know that they've spotted the leopard. Extraordinary. Cannot see her for the life of us. Just going to have a little look around this other side here. Moved off just into this area just here and just into a bit of shade because it is heating up. There's no doubt about the temperature is rising at the moment. That's our control mast, one of the masts that sends out our signal to the, or receives our signal I should say, from the vehicles. I think it's important to show you all this stuff as well. You saw a lot of it last night. You need to know how the workings go and how this incredible project is run. You can hear the generator in the background. If we didn't have that, we wouldn't be broadcasting to you live right now. It's supplying our electricity and feeding all our technology in the control room. But technology aside, I want to find this leopard. Astounding. Now I'm just looking at a lovely thicket just over there that I haven't looked at yet. I'm wondering whether she's in there somewhere. So tricky to see. So tricky to see. Into there. I reckon she's in here somewhere. Can you see in there on the top of that thicket? That termite mound view. So folks, it just goes to show you the incredible camouflage they have. And if they are in really thick vegetation, they're very difficult to see. There's lots of background noise, folks, and that's because there's a lot of generators on at the moment for the lodge, for our control room, for the workshop. Just to give you a bit of background of why that they are all on. It's normally incredibly peaceful, even around these workshops and things. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. We're going to find her, or him. I think it might be a her from what the guy said. We're looking so intensely, folks. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes, folks, if that's okay. I'll just have one last little scan for this leopard and then we might move on and we'll come back to this. Astounding. Well, not really, I suppose, when you think I'm a diurnal primate and I'm looking at trying to find an apex predator that is more skilled than many other creatures on the planet at hiding itself and creeping up on its prey. So it's not that astounding, but you would think that we would have seen it if the guys just saw it not so long ago as they were walking through. I'm just going to drive in one more time into that spot. She could be lying flat somewhere, which in this longer grass is really tricky. No, I cannot. Yeah. Yeah. I think she's moved on, folks. So let me just move in a little bit closer. Just wondering if she's moved down into one of these thickets down here. Liam? No. Can't make out. I'm just going to drive down into this little section just here. It's very, very hard ground here, folks. So the thing that I talked about this morning was, you know, we're not going to drive off road, and if it's really soft ground, but this is grassy, and it sounds a lot worse than it is. I'm driving over a broken branch here. It's a lot worse sounding than it is. Wow. No, we have not got her at all. Okay, well, we can come back another time. That's the thing, Pete and I, and I'm sure, you know, Scott's the same back in control. And I know Mark's like that. You really do just want to find the animal for everyone and for ourselves, and see these beautiful predators, but just cannot for the life of me. I mean, she may have gone down to get a drink. I mean, there's a lot of little water points now after that rain. Just a little bit of a tight spot here, folks, so apologies for the 50-point turn. Okay, so she has moved on somewhere, and we will come back and have another look for her. Wow. Okay guys, we're going to make our way over to the sort of other side of Juma and maybe onto Arathusa and just have a little look over there. I'd like to try and maximise our chances of spotting cheetah if we can. I try and do it every other day, or every day if we can, but it just depends on weather and conditions, of course. But there's an airstrip there that's that fantastic habitat for cheetah. There's also another reserve next door to that do have cheetah around that area quite often. If we are going to see them, we would probably see them there. But as I always say, you know, the books can say the preferred habitat, and people can tell you about the preferred habitat, pardon me, of cheetah, but there's always exceptions to the rule. I've seen cheetah hunting in vegetation like this directly ahead of us here, and I'm sure Scott, and I know Pete has as well, they prefer that open sort of grassland area where they can use their greatest attribute, which is speed, that immense acceleration that cheetahs have. As many of you know, just over 100 mile an hour, about 110 to 115 kilometers per hour, and we just try and go over there. We maximize our chances there, but then we always keep our eyes open as well, because they will adapt themselves, particularly in the season where all these young antelope are being born. So we'll come back and have a look for this leopard. I'm torn between carrying on looking and driving off, but we must go and move on, because we can just drive around. I mean, she may have gone down into the drainage line and tried to go for a drink and might be lying down there. Who knows? But we did a really good effort just there. Just looking for tracks here, anything coming out of this area. Let me just drive down here. Let me just drive just down this road, please. You never know what's around the next corner. This area is our maintenance area and things like that, folks, so it's a bit of an odd place to bring you today, but I think it's just an important thing to see if we can see this leopard. And it just goes to show you, how humans and animals do coexist, but I don't think she is to be seen. Nope. Okay, I've satisfied my last little curiosity there. Where are you, pussycat? Okay, I am turning away from the area. I am not returning, I'm not passing go, I am now moving forward, and we will come back there. Let's see how we go for time. Try and get a little come back in before. I'm just going to go off for a little cruise over the other side here and see what we can see. There's a few recordings of or sightings this morning of lion, but unfortunately they're on other reserves, so I'm going to have to just once I get a little bit closer, get a bit of a handle on what's going on. Just listening to the radio now. But isn't that amazing, folks, to have a kill off a tree right next to where you live, right next to where you operate. It is a real reality check for everyone, us and for you, to see when animals and humans can coexist. It's quite a beautiful thing. Right, let's go and see what else we can find, folks. Nice little bit of interaction there between two lilac-breasted rollers. They may stay, they may not. They normally don't. And he just flew as we pulled up. They're a beautiful bird. We've seen them, we've added them to our list before. A beautiful bird, a common resident. But as I always explain, we've built that list of 25 birds up so far over the past 3 weeks because those common residents are the one we obviously will see more often. So we can get familiar with those, and then we start to move on to, well, I think we've probably started to move on to some other more unusual birds, like the black-bellied bustard, which is a common resident, but you don't see them frequently, but still a great bird to look at. And we're going to add a few more to the list this week coming. I know it's the weekend for some of you, and it's coming on to the weekend, probably just coming up to the beginning of the weekend and already in it. Wherever you are in the world and joining us on this safari, I hope you're having a great one. It's just a lovely way to start your weekend. Go on safari. We had a lovely encounter with zebra this morning, some nice buffalo, some beautiful kudu, a little bit of tracking, a couple of nice bird calls, potential leopard, which is definitely around there somewhere, but eluding us at the moment. And we're a little bit scuppered there as well because, or caught out because we're on the back of lodge and other buildings that have slipped through some of that area and be on the other side, so I couldn't go any further. But we'll definitely follow up on that, folks, as we will our hippo story, which is unfolding every day. The mystery hippo male that disappears during the day but returns at night. Pete last night, he got a thunder strike very close to him last night, and I tell you what, any person that's ever had that happen to them before, it really does give you a bit of a shock. And it was incredible, just to show you also the intensity of that storm that came through last night. He's run. Little Steenbok. It's just funny things about little Steenbok. They show themselves and they stop and run like Duiker, which we often stop at. They scoot straight into the under. Anytime you get a Steenbok or a Duiker, they're two beautiful little animals that are they're quite skittish and stop, of course. But I slowed down, they run on. I will show you them for sure. We've got a couple of good images of Duiker before at night. Just bear with me for a second, folks. Fantastic. Folks, we're going to cross to Pete. Pete has been designing, creating and constructing an incredible piece of art that he's built and designed for my vehicle and his vehicle. A visionary in the canvas world, an avant-garde designer in the world of canvas. And we're going to do a little link across to him right now to show you this incredible thing that he has designed for us to be able to basically drive in some drizzly rain and protect our equipment, our camera gear and all our technology on board. So we're going to cross to Pete. We'll see you real soon.
Guys, welcome to the Jigger. We've been, as you know from earlier, putting up our rain plan, so to speak, which is a fully collapsible, fold away and pack it away canopy. It will still improve quite a bit from this once we tweak it, but we're giving our first test drive with it. We did actually look like some serious rain earlier, and it seems to have sort of held back for the moment, so we won't actually need it. Well, you never know, there's thick cloud around. And going to look around. We're in quarantine area. We are going to look around for that leopard. I know H went and looked at the carcass up in the tree, but it is right in the lodge. I mean, literally right in the lodge. So it's unlikely the leopard will go back there while there's lots of activity, and it is likely that he's just somewhere in the area, sort of just waiting things out for it to quiet down or see what happens there. So interesting story. We'll see how that develops for the rest of the day. In the meantime, we're going to look around. We did have some leopard tracks this morning coming in, and while we were busy getting this up, I did hear a little bit of guinea fowl alarm calls. Not massive, but enough that it's worth a while to have a look around. It's just here towards the western side of things. But yeah, I think we have a plan for when the rains come. In shape, if not in final design, but it should work. But curious, I don't know, Alex, if you guys maybe have found out, does anyone know yet how much rain we had last night? I'm guessing it was quite a few millimeters, if not in the region of an inch or more. Yes, a lot. Let's see Alex there from control. Just from the volume that fell, I would say probably about an inch or so. Yeah, no, definitely, I'd say about in the region of an inch. In South Africa, yeah, we work with millimeters, the metric system, and an inch of rain is 25 millimeters. I'd say at least 25, 30, 35 millimeters. So an inch and a bit, somewhere in that region, but certainly enough to make a lovely change to the bush. It smells great, the air feels great. It looks like it's all been washed. Thank you, Darlene. Always nice to hear people just saying hello, and obviously always great to hear positive feedback. Darlene just saying she thinks we're doing an awesome job, and thank you very much for letting us know. It is great to know that people are enjoying this. Appreciating it is one thing, but if people are enjoying this, if you're having fun, if you're enjoying seeing Africa, sort of having a window into the world that might not have been possible for you prior to bumping into WildEarth and prior to having this experience, that's a good thing. It's already achieved what we wanted to do if that happens. Yeah, when I head back towards, there's another road between where we drove earlier and now, just to dissect this area. get a reverse camera and park assist with this vehicle for when we covered up for rain. Much cooler than yesterday, but it's still summer. Like anywhere in the world, it's important to remember to drink the water. People often on safari forget to do that, funny enough. Just because they've got so much stimulus around them, so many exciting things to look at and enjoy, they sometimes forget to do the basics. Like put water into you. Having a nice call there. Not for a while. Ellen's just asking, out of New York. I love New York, one of my favorite cities. Ellen's just asking, have we heard anything about Shadow and her cubs? Now just for those of you that don't know much or anything about the leopards in this area, there's a number of leopards that we see quite often. Leopards are territorial animals, so you do get to know certain leopards in certain areas. And Shadow is a female which was born in from another female called Karula, which is obviously her mother. And Shadow and Tandi were the first litter that Karula had. That's going back 4 litters. The current ones, Quarantine and Kunyuma, which is almost 100%. I mean, we haven't seen them, but almost certainly one of those 2 males would have made the kill that's in the lodge at the moment. That's her 4th litter, so Shadow is from her 1st litter, and they would be about 7 years old now, going on to 8. And Ellen, no, we haven't heard anything recently. The last was about a week ago or so, when she was in that area. She lives in a very thick, very perfect leopard country, a thick drainage line, close to Arituza Lodge area. And she's not found all that often. She is still a little bit shy. You remember, Ellen, that we used to call her Tingana, which literally means shy, and her sister we used to call Saseka, which means beautiful, the same as Tandi. So the names have stayed to an extent the same. Some nice impala here, running around. These little babies earlier this morning were quite active and running around and skipping and hopping and everything that they need to do to exercise. Slowly but surely there are more of them. Yesterday we were on 4, today 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yesterday morning we had the last call counted 8, on 4 in this herd. So the herd seems to have split up a little bit. There were more of them in the beginning. That's a brand new one. That one would have been born in the course of last night. Hours old, not day or days. Absolutely gorgeous when they're this tiny. Well, when they're grown up as well, but certainly when they're small like this, they're adorable. Great balance already. This one is probably 2-3 days old. In the first 1, 2, 3 days, the little lambs will stick very, very close to their mothers. All a big part of imprinting still, so getting to know her scent, her sounds, even exactly what she looks like. Look at this one's backside there. You go to the impala just left of that, Rafi. A bit of blood on her rump. The adult just left. Go up a little bit. Left. Left. Yeah, that one. There you go, right on the back rump. Oh, that's still the afterbirth. That's still from actual birth. So this was probably, I mean, that blood hasn't even congealed yet. So the last hour or 2, 3, I mean, there's always a little bit of the placenta still coming out after the birth, and that can vary. I mean, we saw the other day with the wildebeest, and the one was all out as the birth happened. The other one took a couple of hours. Just looking at the lamb, little guy just to the left of her, that's the tiniest one of the lot. You know what, it's still got a little bit of damp on the coat. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, this one would have been born, yes, rest a little bit, that's a good idea. This one is a bit older, that one is also tiny. The one standing on the left hand side of the two, and then the one walking over now, see the one that's sniffing, the one getting up as we were looking, that's the smallest one of the lot. But yeah, definitely, as I said, 4 of them yesterday morning, 8 of them this morning, so 4 more arrived in the course of last night, more likely in the early hours of this morning. I'm a little bit like lion and leopard, in a different way though, but we've got one thing in common, and that's that I also really like impala. For different reasons perhaps than lion and leopard do, but they're just absolutely gorgeous antelope. I've always liked watching them. They're very numerous in this whole low-veld area. You get them in big herds, hundreds of them together. They're just such beautifully, perfectly designed antelope. You know, if you had to come up with a perfect design for a African savanna antelope, this would probably be the one you come up with. Which is evident also in the fact that they are so numerous. So they're extremely successful in quite a wide range of habitats, and also in survival. So perhaps they would be closest to the perfect antelope design. All legs. Very vigilant. If you look around at the females, see the one in the middle there looking out, she's looking sort of west. There's another female looking east. Always checking, always looking around, always on a high alert. And this is the case 365 days a year, 366 days every 4 years, but it's a constant thing. And especially now, even more so now, because they have little ones, they know that there are threats around, predators around, and therefore they have to be extra vigilant. Let's take a little drive. As we're driving off, Gemma was just asking there, all the way from the west coast, San Francisco. What time it is there? You guys are? Is it 8 or 9 hours? Rafi? West coast is 10 hours back. Yeah? Because Rafi knows that time very well at the moment. He speaks to LA quite often. Just asking, what are those black tufts at the back of the legs, or the back of the feet of the Impala? They're little glands or little tufts. Well, the black that you see is actually the hair covering those glands, metatarsal glands, and exactly that. There's a little gland in there, so the scent can be released from it. Various theories onto what it's for and what the sort of evolutionary reason or practical reason is for it. But those are glands and the hair tufts around it. Have you been known to have intuition?
Sometimes.
Of course, and this is just out of interest. This is a little practical story for you of what it's like to be live on safari and the intricacies of it. You didn't hear Alex just ask you to go to the left, did you?
I did hear it.
You did hear it? Through
But
where?
I heard it about 5 minutes earlier. I just knew that I had to go
Oh,
up.
okay. No, because can't hear Alex at the moment, but as Alex asked, I mean, literally, I obviously heard it with the earpiece thing. It happened. And then again, as he asked you to tweak it. So that was, I mean, literally, I sat here thinking, that's amazing. Rafi just heard that somehow.
I have a gift. A gift of radio.
Gift of hearing things.
Hearing voices.
Plucking airwaves out of the air with your very thoughts. Alright, we are going to head down towards Gowrie Dam. The day is going to bring for us in terms of the weather. It was looking a lot like rain earlier this morning. I mean, it still is looking like rain, but it isn't looking like rain imminent. This morning it looked really like it could start any minute, and now it's sort of just waiting a little bit. Sort of took a step back, taking a few breaths, and I think it's waiting to exhale on us this afternoon. A lot of moisture, you can feel it, even though it is nice and cool. Obviously the whole environment has been soaked with rain last night, so it does give for a nice cool morning, but might have a little bit more will rain this afternoon. Goedemorgen Susan, good morning. Susan's from Holland, and just asking if, look at the tracks here, if Impala can have twins. So you know, it's not typical, it's not something you would see maybe ever, but it's not impossible. I know that can happen. Springbok as well, which are similar in many ways, just a sort of the antelope that fills this similar niche to Impala, but in drier sort of desert, semi-desert environments. It can happen, but it's not likely, it's not typical. And it would be quite a tough thing, you know, for a female to carry twins. It'll make it a little bit difficult, or more difficult for her towards the end of the gestation period. Impala is about 6 months, so it's probably not the best evolutionary gene to carry, so it's not something that will keep growing. Although, if you were to, for instance, maybe breed with Impala as opposed to with sheep or goats, which is it's exciting, actually quite a big thing in many parts of Africa, and I'm sure in Europe, and I'm sure the same in the States as well, is that people breed wildlife. It gets to a point where it's maybe better for them to breed wild animals for going into other areas, again, people that are starting reserves or stocking wild game. Anyway, I'm digressing. The point is, if you were to breed them, it's probably not impossible that you could end up with them having twins. I mean, you get a lot of certain sheep and goats now that are bred specifically, and that will often have twins, even triplets. But out in nature, it's all about efficiency, and it's all about, it's nice seeing the water everywhere. It's all about survival. I think generally speaking, twins will not be conducive to those things. Hey, 3 hippos. Is actually marginally more water in the dam. 4 hippos. If you think about it, let's say we had 30 millimeters of rain, that's just over an inch. This dam would now be effectively about an inch deeper. It's actually quite a lot of water if you think of the surface area, as well as a bit of water running into the dam, and then of course this fills up when we get the big rains. You know, after a little while, and the ground is getting saturated, you get lots of runoff water, and that's what will fill this. not a bad day for hippo to be out the water if they wanted to. Hippo obviously prefer being in the water during the daytime, and they're more active at night. That's when they walk around and graze. In daytime they are quite sensitive to sunlight, relatively speaking. I mean, it's not I've seen a few people that are sensitive to sunlight on safari. I've seen people get sunburned through their clothes because the skin are just not used to sun. Hippos are not quite that sensitive. They can be in the sun. They even get a slight, call it sunscreen for lack of a better description, or for a local description. They get this pink tinge, which is a chemical they get on the skin when they're in the sun a lot, and that helps to protect them as well against the sunlight. They can walk out in daylight if they want to. You'll see them even midsummer sometimes doing it. But the point is, this is not bad weather for them. If they maybe didn't get enough food last night, maybe they didn't, things disturbed them, there were lions around or something like that, then they can actually feed in the daytime. And often in weather like this you will see it. If you go to places where there's lots of hippo, you'll often see hippo out and about in this kind of overcast weather. That's the family portrait. Basically looks like a bull and cow and two young ones, obviously one younger than the other. The one on the top right, or slightly to the right hand side, will be the youngest one. So I'm guessing that it's a bull and a cow and her offspring and previous offspring. Hippos, is always better to see them out the water to really start gauging ages, because their heads can be a little bit misleading. Bull and cow, or young female, young male, can play a big difference. And you'll even get, like with humans and like with animals, you get two animals of the same age, even brothers. If you look at Kunyuma and Quarantine, the two leopard, there's to me what looks like a substantial difference in size and even head shape and sort of characteristics, or physical characteristics. So with hippos, if you really want to judge the age, it's better to see them out the water. Hello Mark, all the way from Scotland. Mark's just asking about the digestive tract, or more specifically the stomachs of hippo, and asking if they got more than one chamber. So the short answer is no, they don't. They don't have the same stomach as, for instance, the impala we looked at earlier, giraffe, cows. Those are all ruminants, animals with multiple chambers to the stomach, and sort of multiple stages to digestion. So they eat first, regurgitate later, chew the cud, and that whole process, which allows them to digest cellulose more efficiently than some of the other animals do, like hippo or elephant, and it allows them to get more nutritional value from small amount of food. So they can, for instance, be slightly more picky and get wow, that's a cool bird. If we can see it, Mark, I'm going to finish your question just now. It's not going to be possible. Let's try and see it. No, that's a crested barbet. We saw one about a week ago or so as well. Mark, so no, they don't have the ruminant stomach, and the ruminant stomach obviously has certain benefits, but at the same time, what you call your hindgut fermenters, which are things like hippo, elephant, zebra, horses for that matter, they've got a much larger stomach, and they sort of digest the food quicker, rougher, if that makes sense. So the ruminant will have to spend a lot of time eating, then regurgitating, chewing it again, really breaking that food down to a fine powder almost once it's dry. So have a little last quiz at these guys. Well, us at them and they at us. Look at the clouds there in the water, how beautiful that looks. So things like hippo and elephant can eat larger volumes of food and sort of digest call it the easy parts to digest. In other words, they don't have to break it down as much to digest all the cellulose. They can get to the easier, quick to get to kind of proteins and so forth. But the benefit of that is they can eat about twice the volume and digest it twice as fast as something like an impala would, relative to the weight of the animal, of course. So it's not a less efficient system. You know, people always used to say, elephants got a digestive system, it's not sufficient at all. And I always felt like it's not right, because it's obviously highly efficient. Elephants have lived for thousands of years, and will do so, hopefully, if we don't come and mess it up as humans, will live for many thousands of years still. So it is an efficient system, it's just different ways of being efficient. Alright, beautiful sunlight coming out now. I know HD is on his way somewhere, he's got a bit of a mission. We hope that he's got about 16 minutes, 15 and a half minutes left to try and find some surprise. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Unless he's told you, I'm not sure if he has. But he's trying to get there in time. It's a little bit far from here. Let's have a look at this carcass as well. I'm quite curious. Who knows? Maybe everyone made the kill has popped back there. Aubrey again. Aubrey again. For you breaking up a bit, I just want to know that Bamba Kusuekaya, is it Kusuekaya 1? Okay, so just keep going down towards almost like the back of the lodge. Okay, come on, bro. Right, let's have a little look around. It's a bit of a tricky thing. Obviously, the leopard made the kill last night sometime. I mean, it was all quiet and everyone was inside having a nice sleep in their rooms, or all the staff were back in the Star Village area. And this morning, the light came, the leopard was like, oh, there's a bit of activity. Now these are young cats, they're about 2 years old, they'll be 2 in December, so they're not big confident males, or like Karula for instance, the female, she's grown up in this area, her mother lived in this area, her mother was called Safari, she grew up here, she's raised all her cubs to some extent or another, with them often being around the lodge. She's extremely comfortable. In fact, I'd even venture to say that Karula might have stayed on the carcass if it was her kill, at least until there were enough people around, then she might leave, but she wouldn't be as wary as these 2 boys would be, or whichever one it is. Let's go have a look. guessing it would be a young impala, and shame the females are just back there. Give you a view. Rafi, can you see it up there in the branch?
Yeah, yeah.
Shame, that might have been number 9 from last night. Not necessarily, but quite possibly also a newborn, or certainly less than 72 hours, possibly less than 24 hours old. As we were saying earlier, this impala is always vigilant. It's part of their instinct. I mean, it's not something they concern themselves over, it's something that they do. You have to be vigilant, the same as you have to groom yourself, the same as you have to eat and sleep. And but these times, around the next couple of weeks when the babies are born, they are extra vigilant. But also, again, not to be sort of insensitive, if you want, towards this individual lamb that got caught. Obviously that's quite sad, and for the mother and so on. Also keep in mind it is food for the leopard, so we do have a young leopard that is busy finding his feet and becoming independent. So it's exciting and good news in that way that he could find his food. But what I was going to say is that part of their strategy, part of the survival strategy for impala, is that they have a lot of lambs in the next little while. In the bigger picture, even other species as well, kudu and waterbuck, nyala, a lot of those will have their young. So there's lots of baby animals around. Yes, some of them are going to get caught by predators, leopard, lion, wild dog and so forth. But the fact that so many of them are born within the space of a few weeks or a month or two does also help for the survival. Just not maybe the best location choice for the leopard. Very well placed there. I mean, it's the work of an experienced leopard in that respect, that it's perfectly placed on a branch. It's about, what would that be, about 5-6 meters, probably looking at about 12-15 feet off the ground. Now the question just is, where is this leopard? When will he come back? Maybe tonight only, after dark when it's quiet. Maybe quietly today somewhere, when there's not much activity. You might have a quick look, jump up, grab it, jump down, go stash it somewhere else. But a few minutes to go. Let's see, maybe he's just around here somewhere. Not impossible. They are wily creatures. Somewhere in the shade, under a bush, in some thick cover. It could be just here close by somewhere. Over the years at Juma, at Voitela Lodge, way back when I used to guide here, and later on when we were here at WildEarth, we've seen leopard right in amongst the activity of what's going on. I've seen leopard drinking from the plunge pools at Voitela. The rooms have got little, like each room has got its own private plunge pool. I've seen leopard drinking water from there, sitting on the deck, having a look around. So it really is, it's something that I hammer on about sometimes, but it really just shows you again that, you know, it's not humans in a lodge separate from the rest of nature. It really is all part of it all together. And it's so important that people think of it that way. You realize this is all one thing. We are not separate. We are not above and beyond or special. If anything, we are special in that we can maybe think and reason further and longer and harder than a lot of animals could. But with that should also be a responsibility. We really should consider our environment, consider the wildlife, look after it, cherish it, love it. Which is why we're here, which is why you'll drive with us, which is why it's so great to have you along for the drive, knowing that it's people that, one thing we all have in common to some varying degree is that we care for our environment and the wildlife in it, and this great continent which is Africa, this great spectacle which is African wilderness. It's cool stuff. I like it. It's a bit like how long is a piece of string? I've been working with lots of pieces of string and bits and pieces to get this thing up this morning. But it's a bit like, how long do you need to find a leopard? How long does it take? I mean, I've been out here sometimes where it takes days. It's normally, luckily, not weeks, but it can take a long time. But ultimately, it takes that split second, because leopard could be anywhere, right in amongst the lodge, around the next corner, sitting on a tree trunk, anyway. So it ultimately just takes a split second to find the leopard, because it's a bit like lightning, or like the perfect magic trick. Where 1 minute it's not there and the next minute it is, and it almost boggles the mind. It's like it just appears. I love that. There's no animal more interesting for me to just suddenly see than a leopard. Obviously we like the big guys, the elephants, we like the rare things, pangolin, and badger and all that kind of stuff. Great to see them. Impalas, I love watching impalas. I'm sure many of you do as well. Let's take a little drive down towards Philemon's Dip. Let's go down this way. Alright, well, almost at the end of the drive. We're going to just finish our circuit, and we'll talk more this afternoon about the magic of wildlife and experience it together. From myself and from Rafi on the Jigger, we're going to say goodbye. We're going to spend the last few minutes with HT. He's got a surprise for you. See you this afternoon for the sunset drive.
So folks, we just came over to look for these lions. We got so close, but I just don't think we're going to find them in the time that we've got left. So I'll continue looking over here. There's a beautiful elephant up there, beautiful bull. Let me just move up so you got a bit of a picture of him. And just close off probably and have a bit of a chat with you, and hopefully you've enjoyed the morning as much as we have. Sorry, it's the other end of the elephant that he was just walking across in front of us. He's a beautiful big bull. He's having a lovely morning browse there, and we will definitely carry on looking for these lion. We got some intelligence off the ground earlier, and we feel like we're close, but I've followed a couple of tire tracks to where they were, and they seem to have either moved or be hidden down in deeper vegetation. So no problem, we'll definitely put some work in whilst in the break between now and this afternoon. But the most important thing is we wanted to say thank you for joining us. Really beautiful to have you aboard. If it's your first time with us, thanks for coming, and thanks for getting on board. If you're a regular Safari Live participant, well, we always love to have you back. So this afternoon we'll be coming back at 4 o'clock. We'll be driving from 4 till 7. We'll be broadcasting live from the Arathusa Game Reserve, which I'm on right now, and Djuma, where Pete is on, in the beautiful Sabi Sands here in South Africa. And we will definitely be following up on a couple of the leads we had this morning, particularly that leopard, also our hippo story, and also these lions here. Definitely want to find out where they are. We really enjoyed this morning's drive in the sense that it was a little bit different, and VM was just saying to me it was nice to throw a little bit of tracking in there. Very basic stuff, just enough to know that all different hooves and footprints gives us lots of information about the animals and what the movements were last night. I've got some really great line tracks along the road back here, but unfortunately I was rushing to get here, so I couldn't really stop and take a picture. But if we do, I'll definitely make sure I show you in the next adventure that we have this afternoon. So to round up, I think we will say goodbye. We will say come back to us this afternoon at 4 o'clock our time, 4 o'clock Central African time. But most importantly, check out on the websites, either on WildEarth.tv or the National Geographic websites that we're on, National Geographic Wild, and it'll give you all the times of where you are, wherever you are in the world. So from Peter, myself, Viam, Brian, Rafi, sorry, and all the people around the team, we say farewell, and we'll see you this afternoon. Take care.